Thrust into an alien wilderness, a group of exiles unravels the secrets of Zelphyr's unique life forms, discovering that their DNA holds the key to both unimaginable power and perilous mutations. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share your comments about the exciting end of the story. The Crucible of Mutation. Let the story begin. A lone starship cut through the void of space, an unmarked vessel bearing precious and dangerous cargo. Within the frigid metal shell, Dr. Amelia Harper sat quietly, eyes closed. Her hand brushed softly against the silver locket around her neck, a faint smile playing on her lips. The journey would soon end. She knew what awaited her, though the details remained murky. Approaching Zelphyr, the ship's AI voice announced, emotionless as ever. Amelia opened her eyes, meeting the captain's gaze through the glass partition. He was Corian, pale blue skin, height imposing, eyes glowing with the cold, calculating light typical of his race. "You sure you've got no regrets, Doc?" he sneered, tracing a talon along her locket's outline visible through the glass. Amelia stiffened, meeting his gaze with unyielding defiance. "I stand by what I did," she said, voice steady. "Experimentation on unwilling subjects is wrong. Doesn't matter if they're Corian or human." The captain chuckled, shaking his head. "Idealism won't help you down there, Harper. Zelphyr isn't kind to anyone. It swallows the weak." With that ominous warning echoing in her ears, the descent began. The ship hurtled toward Zelphyr's atmosphere, a storm of colors swirling through the windows as they pierced the clouds. Below, the planet's surface came into view, a lush tapestry of greens and purples, an undulating sea of exotic flora. But the beauty was a facade. Amelia knew Zelphyr held dangers beyond its beguiling appearance. The ship landed with a metallic thud, its door hissed open. Amelia stepped out, her eyes adjusting to the dim light. An ancient, dense forest greeted her, its massive trees shrouded in mist. The air was thick with the scent of wet earth and alien blossoms. As she moved forward, leaves crunched beneath her boots, each step a reminder that this world was very much alive and aware of her presence. "Gotta move! Night's coming!" called out one of her fellow exiles, a burly man with a scar slicing across his face. He motioned towards a rough path, eyes darting to and fro. "Name's Aaron," he said shortly. "Stay close if you want to live." They navigated deeper into the forest. The shadows lengthened, and eerie sounds of unseen creatures filled the air. Amelia took note of everything: the bioluminescent plants, the peculiar rustling in the trees' canopies. They had only progressed a short distance when a scream pierced the air. Panic spread like wildfire among the group. "Help! Something's got—" The cry was abruptly silenced, replaced by the sickening crunch of bone and sinew. Aaron cursed under his breath. "Stay together! Move faster!" he ordered. The adrenaline in Amelia's veins urged her forward. As they pressed on, she saw a silhouette descend from the trees. A beast, a predator, unlike anything she had ever seen, its fangs glistening with fresh blood. In the chaos, Amelia felt a sharp pain as the creature's claws tore into her side. She fell, vision blurring, reaching out in vain. Darkness enveloped her. When she awoke, the pain had receded, replaced by a strange numbness. Blinking, she found herself in a dimly lit cave, the air cool and damp. A petite woman, perhaps in her mid-20s, knelt by her side, tending to a fire. She was human, her eyes a mix of weariness and defiance. "You're lucky to be alive," the woman said, voice soft but firm. "I'm Kira. We found you just in time." Amelia glanced around, noticing a few others gathered, each bearing the marks of hardship. Aaron was among them, keeping watch at the cave's entrance. "Where are we?" Amelia asked, struggling to sit up. "You're in our refuge," Kira explained. "It's not much, but it keeps us safe from the worst out there." As her strength returned, Amelia recounted the creature's attack. Kira nodded solemnly, her expression grave. "Zelphyr has its dangers," she said, "but stick with us. We'll teach you how to survive. This planet is more than it seems." Amelia felt a flicker of hope. As she settled in with the group, she couldn't shake the feeling that her journey was just beginning, a journey that would reveal the true depths of Zelphyr and herself. Amelia awoke to the sound of low whispers and the scent of roasting meat. She pushed herself up, blinking against the soft glow of the fire in the center of the cave. The warmth was a welcome reprieve from the chilled, damp air. "Good to see you up," Aaron said, not looking away from his carving of a large slab of meat. "Breakfast won't be long." Amelia nodded, marveling at her swift recovery. "Thank you, Aaron. And you, Kira," she added, glancing at the hacker who sat cross-legged near a stack of equipment. "Don't mention it," Kira replied, tapping away on a makeshift terminal. "I've been down here long enough to know that no one makes it alone." Amelia took in her surroundings more carefully now. The cave was deeper than she initially thought, stretching further into darkness. Makeshift beds lined one side and various salvaged items were neatly arranged along another. Tools, gear, remnants of technology. The atmosphere was somber but resilient. "What are you working on?" she asked Kira, curiosity piqued. "Trying to hack into Corian communications," Kira said without looking up. "We need to know their movements, their plans. Information is our best defense." Aaron stepped over with a plate of food, handing it to Amelia. "She's a genius with this stuff," he said, pride evident in his voice. "Helped us avoid many traps. We owe her our lives more than once." Kira smirked, but her eyes remained on the screen. "Flattery gets you no extra rations, Aaron." They shared a brief, knowing laugh. Amelia felt a bond forming among them, a mutual dependence born of shared danger. As she ate, she noticed another figure entering from the cave's entrance, tall and lithe, eyes scanning the group before locking on her. "You must be Dr. Harper," the woman said, her voice smooth but commanding. "I'm Nessa. We're glad to have someone with your expertise here." Amelia extended her hand. "It's just Amelia now, but thank you. I hope I can help." Nissa nodded, sitting beside Aaron. "You will. We've adapted to the hostile environment, but your knowledge of biology could give us an edge, especially against those creatures." The conversation turned to the planet and its inhabitants. Zelphyr's flora and fauna, while stunning, were deadly. The group described other survivors they had encountered, some forming small enclaves, others barely hanging on. Amelia's scientific curiosity sparked at the mention of Zelphyrian creatures and their strange behaviors. "There's something you need to see," Aaron said, leading her to a far corner of the cave where a makeshift lab had been set up. "We've been studying the creatures when we can. They're unique. DNA different from anything I've seen. That's more Kira and Nissa's area." Kira turned in her seat. "We've noticed that they have regenerative abilities too. They heal fast, much faster than anything we know. It's why they're so hard to kill." Amelia's eyes widened. "That's incredible. If harnessed, it could mean—" "Exactly," Nissa interrupted. "Survival, but it's not without risks. Some of us mutated after exposure to the creatures. Some mutations were useful, others catastrophic." This revelation hung in the air, heavy and foreboding. Amelia felt a whisper of excitement mixed with dread. Knowing the potential of such mutations could be a game-changer, but the cost was high. As days passed, Amelia immersed herself in the group's daily routine. She studied plant samples, observed the creatures from a safe distance, and provided medical aid with the crude supplies they had. Each evening, they gathered around the fire, sharing stories, strategies, and a growing sense of unity. One night, Kira approached Amelia, an unusual seriousness in her eyes. "We need you to develop a serum, Amelia, something to stabilize the mutations. We've lost too many already." Amelia felt the weight of the request. "I'll need time, proper equipment." "We'll help you get what you need," Aaron interrupted, determination seeping into his tone. Together, Amelia met their gazes, feeling an unfamiliar yet welcome sense of belonging. She nodded. "Let's do it." In the days that followed, the group worked tirelessly, scavenging for equipment, securing areas from the corians, and ever vigilant of Zelphyr's dangers. They forged a plan. The atmosphere bristled with tension and hope. Amelia knew that success hinged on their unity and her ability to unlock the secrets of Zelphyr's unique biology. As she adjusted the settings on the salvaged lab equipment, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. The bonds formed in these trials would be their strength, and together they might just change the fate of all exiles on this forsaken world. Amelia's hands trembled slightly as she prepared the genetic samples. The makeshift lab buzzed with a quiet hum, the limited equipment cobbled together from various scavenged Corian tech. Aaron worked beside her, his rough hands surprisingly deft at assembling the fragile components. Each movement was deliberate, each second precious. "How's it coming?" Kira asked, peering over Amelia's shoulder. "We're close," Amelia replied, her voice steady despite the nerves. "But close isn't good enough when lives are at stake." Nissa entered, visibly tense. "Quarian patrols are increasing. We need to move soon, with or without the serum." Aaron set down his tools, meeting Nessa's gaze. "We can't rush this. A half-finished serum could kill us faster than the Quarians." Amelia nodded, focusing again on her work. "Just a bit more time. I need to perfect the stabilization process to ensure the mutations don't spiral out of control." Outside the cave, the forest was alive with twilight activity. Creatures began their nocturnal hunt, their sounds an eerie symphony of Zelphyr's untamed wilderness. Kira kept watch at the entrance, her eyes scanning the shifting shadows for signs of danger. Hours bled into the night, tension thick in the air. Finally, Amelia raised her head, exhaustion etched into her features. "It's done, but it needs testing." Aaron picked up a vial, examining it under the dim light. "Who volunteers for this?" Nissa stepped forward without hesitation. "I will. My ability to heal is already erratic. If it works, it could stabilize. If not, I've faced worse." Amelia's heart clenched. "Are you sure?" Nissa smiled faintly. "If we wait, we die anyway." With a deep breath, Amelia injected the serum into Nissa's arm. The group watched in silence, every second dragging on. Nissa winced, but the initial signs were promising. Her skin glowed faintly, the uneven patches smoothing out. "I feel different," Nissa murmured, flexing her fingers. "Stronger, more in control." "Thank God," Aaron breathed, relief flooding his face. Their moment of triumph was short-lived. Kira's warning shout echoed through the cave. "Quarian patrol headed this way. We have minutes, maybe less." Panic threatened to take hold, but Nissa took charge. "Grab everything! We move through the tunnels, now!" They moved quickly, the urgency lending speed to their actions. Amelia clutched the precious vials of the serum, legs trembling as they navigated deeper into the cave system. The glow of their makeshift torches cast dancing shadows on the jagged walls. The group emerged into a hidden chamber, the entrance concealed by heavy vines. Outside, the sounds of Quarian soldiers approaching grew louder. Nissa signaled for silence, her enhanced senses attuned to every movement. Amelia's heart pounded. For a moment, it seemed the patrol would pass. But a sudden crash echoed through the cave, followed by a guttural growl. One of Zelphyr's predators, disturbed by the invaders, leapt into their midst. Chaos erupted. Quarian blasters fired, screams filling the air. Nissa took advantage of the distraction, leading the group away from the conflict. Amelia's mind raced, a single thought piercing through the panic. Survival. They emerged into the forest once more, the cold night air biting at their skin. Kira led them to a secluded hollow, hidden beneath thick underbrush. Safe, at least for now, they collapsed, breathless. Nissa's face was taut with determination. "We can't stay here. They'll keep searching." "We need to find another base, somewhere they can't track us," Aaron said, eyes scanning the horizon. Amelia's thoughts returned to the serum, the hope it represented. "If we can replicate the serum, stabilize more of us, we might stand a chance against both the wildlife and the Quarians." Kira nodded. "But we also need allies. There are other enclaves, other humans and exiles. We need to unite them." Nissa's eyes gleamed with a new resolve. "Then that's our plan. Strengthen ourselves, find and gather others. We'll turn Zelphyr from a prison into a fortress." The night's chill deepened, but for the first time, Amelia felt a spark of warmth. They had a path forward, however fraught with danger. Together they could forge a future out of the chaos. "We have to believe we can do this," Amelia said softly. "For everyone who couldn't be here, for those still waiting for hope." The group shared a solemn nod, their bond forged stronger in the crucible of their fight. They watched the stars above, drawing strength from each other and the promise of dawn. The morning air was crisp as Amelia, Aaron, and Nissa set out from the hidden hollow. Kira stayed behind to guard their supplies and monitor Quarian communications. Amelia's thoughts swirled with possibilities, each step towards their new shelter charged with determination. "We need to find a place far enough from any known Quarian patrol routes," Aaron said, scanning the environment. Somewhere isolated but defensible. Nissa pointed towards a distant range of hills. Up there, natural barriers, hard to approach without being seen. The journey was grueling. Along the way, Amelia couldn't help but marvel at Zelphyr's beauty amid its danger. Strange bird-like creatures flitted through the air, their calls echoing around them. Unfamiliar plants reached out as if sensing their presence, some giving off faint luminescence. "What's the deal with those?" Aaron asked, noticing Amelia taking samples. "Bioluminescent flora," she replied. "Could be useful for light sources or even signaling. If we understand more about them, they might provide unexpected advantages." "Just more ways this place is different," he mused. They reached the hills by midday. The climb was steep, but Nissa's mutations made it easier for her. She led the way, stopping occasionally to offer a hand to the others. Eventually, they arrived at a natural cave formation. It was spacious, with multiple chambers and vantage points that offered views of the surrounding area. "This will work," Nissa said, inspecting the place. "We'll need to secure the entrance and scout the area thoroughly." As they began setting up, the silence was punctuated only by their labored breathing and the occasional distant calls of wildlife. The work was hard, but the air hummed with shared purpose. With every stone moved, every tool placed, the cave began to feel more like a fortress. Later in the evening, Kira and a few others joined them, carrying additional supplies. They all gathered around a small fire, the flickering flames casting long shadows on the cavern walls. "How long can we hold out here?" one of the new arrivals, a wiry man named Ben, asked. "The corians are relentless." "As long as we need to," Amelia said firmly. She opened a small, battered case, revealing several vials of the serum. "And we're not just going to hide. We have a way to even the playing field." Nissa stepped forward, her presence commanding. "This serum can stabilize our mutations, give us strength without the negative effects. But it's not a cure-all. We need to be smart." Aaron leaned forward. "Those willing to use it, step forward. Amelia will administer it carefully. We need all the strength we can get." Hands slowly raised, volunteers stepping forward. Amelia felt the weight of their hope and trust. She administered the serum, each recipient showing signs of hope and fear mingled in their eyes. As the night wore on, their new sanctuary began to feel more secure. The serum proved effective, enhancing not just physical abilities, but also mental acuity and resilience. They began to test their new strengths and plan their next steps. "We need to find the other enclaves," Kira said, her eyes alight with determination. "Spread the word, share the serum. Only united can we stand against the corians." Nissa nodded. "Agreed, but first, we need to solidify this base. Make sure we can retreat here if needed." Ben, testing his new strength by effortlessly shifting a heavy boulder, added, "And we must be prepared to defend it." A sudden noise at the entrance froze them all. The familiar hum of corian weaponry was unmistakable. Instinctively, they assumed defensive positions, their newly enhanced senses heightening their awareness. A group of corians emerged from the shadows, their leader's eyes gleaming with cruel intent. "Thought you could hide forever," he sneered. "We're here to end this little rebellion." Nissa's eyes narrowed, her muscles taut and ready. "You'll find us not so easy to crush," she retorted, her voice steady with newfound confidence. "This time, we fight back." The corian leader scoffed, raising his blaster. But before he could fire, Aaron and Ben, their movements a blur, disarmed the soldiers with swift, calculated strikes. Amelia's heart pounded as she scrambled to gather the wounded and administer the serum where necessary. Kira's voice was a steady anchor amidst the chaos. "We push them back, now!" The battle was fierce. Nissa led the charge, her agility and strength turning the tide. The corians, expecting an easy victory, were soon overwhelmed by the enhanced humans. Amelia's focus was unyielding, her every action driven by the will to protect and heal. The fight seemed to stretch on, but slowly the corian forces faltered. Realizing their mistake, the remaining soldiers retreated, leaving their fallen comrades behind. As the dust settled, Amelia looked around at her companions, battered but alive and stronger than ever. She knew that this victory was just the beginning. Together, they had turned their desperation into a powerful weapon. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "We've shown them what we're capable of. Now we build our alliances and prepare for the inevitable retaliation. Nissa, standing tall and undaunted, nodded. They will come again, and we'll be ready. With renewed resolve, the group set about fortifying their new home, each task undertaken with the knowledge that they were no longer just fighting to survive, they were fighting to reclaim their future. Amelia watched the sunrise from a ledge outside the cave. The warm hues of dawn bathed Zelphyr's treetops, making the strange world look almost serene. Yet the scars from their recent battle were evident. Broken remains of Corian weapons lay scattered around, a grim reminder of their ongoing struggle. Aaron joined her, silent at first. He handed her a cup of steaming herbal tea, a rare comfort in their harsh reality. "How are you holding up?" he asked, breaking the quiet. "Better than I expected," Amelia replied, a small smile tugging at her lips. "The serum is working, but it's a constant learning process. Everyone's adapting differently." Aaron nodded, leaning on the rocky outcrop. "It's a miracle we've come this far." His eyes were distant, replaying the recent clashes and victories. "But we need more than just survival now. We need to rally." As if reading their thoughts, Kira emerged from within the cave, her face lit by the glow of her terminal. "I've intercepted some Corian communications," she said, excitement tinged with urgency. "They're regrouping and planning another attack. We have a small window to act." Amelia's heart quickened. "How long do we have?" 2 days, maybe 3, Kira replied. "We need to reach out to the other enclaves now, bring them here so we can stand together." Nissa, overhearing the conversation, approached. "Then let's not waste any time. We'll need scouts to find the enclaves and messengers to unite them." Aaron straightened. "I'll start preparing supplies. We can't afford to be caught off guard." Later that day, a few scouts set out, including Ben and another seasoned survivor named Lila. Their task? Locate and bring back neighboring enclave leaders. The sense of urgency fueled their steps as they navigated the dense, perilous forest. Back at the cave, Amelia focused on harnessing the full potential of the serum. She meticulously tracked each person's mutation, adjusting doses, fine-tuning the formula. The cave had transformed into a hive of activity, everyone contributing to their shared goal. "What's our plan for when they arrive?" Amelia asked Nissa as they fortified the entrance. Nissa's eyes glinted with determination. "We set traps and defenses along the perimeter. The Corians won't know what hit them." She paused, then added, "And we show them that we're not just survivors. We're fighters." By nightfall, the scouts returned with leaders and representatives from various enclaves. Some were wary, others hopeful. They gathered around the fire, the flickering flames casting resolute shadows on their faces. Amelia stepped forward. "We've all suffered under the Corian rule, but here's our chance to turn the tide. Together, we're stronger. We have the serum, the means to fight back without losing ourselves." One of the enclave leaders, an elderly man with sharp eyes, asked, "Can we trust this serum? What proof do you have that it'll work for all of us?" Nissa, ever the symbol of their resilience, answered, "I'm living proof. It stabilized my mutations and made me stronger. We need to embrace this opportunity for the sake of our people." The leaders exchanged glances, weighing the risks. Finally, the elderly man nodded. "We'll stand with you, but we need to see this serum in action." Preparations intensified over the next day. Amelia administered the serum to the newcomers, carefully guiding them through its effects. Trust grew as they witnessed its benefits firsthand. The once disparate groups began to meld into a united front. On the dawn of the 3rd day, the sky grew ominously darker. The Corians would arrive soon. The fortified camp buzzed with readiness, traps carefully laid, every defender in position. Aaron stood beside Amelia, gripping his weapon. "This is it. Ready?" "As ready as we'll ever be," she replied, her voice steady despite the storm brewing inside her. The ground trembled with the march of Corian soldiers. Silence fell over the camp as the invaders broke through the forest edge. The Corian leader stepped forward, eyes cold and merciless. "You should have stayed hidden," he hissed. "Your resistance ends now." Nissa stepped forward, radiating confidence. "We'll see about that." The battle erupted with a thunderous roar. Traps ensnared the first wave of Corians, and the enhanced humans surged forward, their movements a blur. Nissa led the charge with unparalleled ferocity, Aaron and Ben not far behind. Even Kira, armed with tech prowess, disabled Corian weapons remotely. Emilia remained at the rear, administering aid to the wounded and coordinating defenses. Every second was a test of their unity, their resolve, and slowly, against all odds, they began to push the Corians back. The climax of the battle saw the Corian leader face off against Nyssa. Blows were exchanged, brutal and swift, but Nyssa's enhancements gave her the edge. With a final powerful strike, she brought the leader to his knees. Gasping, the leader looked up. "This isn't over!" Nyssa's gaze was cold. "It is for you." And with that, she ended the threat. As the remaining Corian forces retreated, a cheer rose from the defenders. Emilia felt a wave of relief and pride. They had done it, but she knew the fight wasn't over. As the survivors gathered, Emilia addressed them, voice strong yet compassionate. "This is just the beginning. We've shown we can fight back. Now we must build a future where we don't just survive, we thrive." Her words were met with nods, determined faces shining with newfound hope. Together they had faced the darkness and emerged stronger. And together they would carve out a new destiny on Zelphyr, one forged in unity and resilience.